Now, we should have already known that the ending to Super Bowl 49 was gonna be coming. Okay, well, maybe not the way it happened, but we should have known that the Seahawks would lose because, well, the 2014 NFC playoffs were cursed. To trace this curse, we have to go back to the beginning. All the way back to the beginning. Well, not that far back. Back to Wild Card Weekend, where we can see the beginnings of the curse take form. The first game up is Panthers and Cardinals. This game was a series of errors that neither team really seemed like they wanted to win. Both teams had 3 turnovers and some of them were pretty egregious. This game was rainy, it was turnover filled, and it was ugly. To add to this, the Cards started 9-1 before going 2-4 in their last 6 games of the season and somehow missing out on a home playoff game. Also, I feel like the division champ rule awards mediocrity, but that's a topic for another day. On this day, these teams combined for a total of 6 turnovers. Now, I'm not going to get too deep into the game itself, but if you want to watch 2 teams consistently try to give the game away, I highly encourage you to watch these highlights. I'm going to look at a particularly cursed sequence in this game that sealed the Panthers' fate before they even knew it. Late in the third, veteran wide receiver for the Cards, Ted Ginn Jr. fumbles the ball deep in his own territory to give the Panthers a prime scoring opportunity. What's even crazier is the Cards actually stopped the Panthers on 3rd and goal, which in all likelihood would have forced a field goal. Instead, you have one of the weakest PI calls in NFL history keep the Cardinals' drive alive. Did he hold the receiver down? Probably. But look, I'm trying to do a thing here and it doesn't help me to be objective. So, cursed.
I curse you.
The next game is the Detroit Lions versus the Dallas Cowboys. You should already know why this game is cursed. But if you don't worry, I got you covered. This game is notorious for the way it ended, but we need to talk about the way it started. The Lions shocked the Cowboys initially by going up 14 in the early goings of the game. A Terrence Williams touchdown cut the lead to 14-7 before a Prater field goal made the score 17-7 at the half. Detroit on top. Detroit scored again after a missed field goal attempt from the Cowboys. The score is now 20-7 Lions. Things were starting to slip away and all seemed lost until the seedings of the curse started to enter the air. A huge Dez catch that was totally a catch, mind you, and a 1-yard touchdown run by DeMarco Murray made the score 20-14. Another Cowboys field goal put the score at 20-17, and if you don't have the proper garments on, you may get caught up in the cursed splash zone. Now, this is where things get interesting. With the game on the line and the Lions needing a score, the referees called a very clear pass interference on Anthony Hitchens of the Cowboys. There was just one problem. The refs decided that this wasn't really a pass interference, and running directly into a receiver without looking for the ball is not a foul. Everybody knows that, right? He wasn't interfering, he just wanted to give his friend a hug during a big game. Nothing sinister here. Unfortunately, in-game hugs aren't allowed, and I'm gonna have to curse your team, little buddy. Sorry about that, sport. It's the way the cookie crumbles. Also, DeMarcus Lawrence probably had one of the craziest roller coaster rides you can have in a playoff debut. He gets the fumble, loses the fumble, then gets another fumble to seal the game. If that isn't bad juju, I don't know what is. The next round is the divisional round, where we have the Seahawks and Panthers on one side and the Packers and Cowboys on the other. Starting with the Panthers and Seahawks, I'm gonna level with you here. When I first had the notion to make this video, this game was one that slipped my mind. The curse from this game probably comes more from the situation than the game itself. They ended up playing a 7-9 team for the right to go to the NFC Championship game. And I know, You play who's in front of you, and it's not the Seahawks' fault that they got the draw of the below 500 team. At the same time, you can't help but look at that and go, get ready to get cursed, buddy. Matter of fact, reviewing this footage made it seem like all the breaks were actually going in the Panthers' favor. I really had to dig deep to make up, find a curse in this game. Besides the fact that the Panthers kept letting Russell Wilson do this, I didn't really see much in the way of jinxes. So I'll just go with this play here. See that? Yeah, look, that right there. No way the Seahawks are escaping the curse after this.
Oh, hell no.
Or maybe because the Panthers were getting the breaks they were supposed to win, but the Seahawks won a game they weren't supposed to, so the curse was inherited? But if the Panthers won, well, maybe they'd be cursed anyway because of the breaks all going in their favor?
Aha! I understand everything now.
I've got it. This play right here. Benjamin should have had the touchdown. He missed it by 1 toe touch. If he gets this touchdown and the score is tied instead of Carolina having to take a field goal, the outcome of this game is totally different. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Final verdict, cursed. Because I said so. Alright, now that that's out of the way, we gotta get to the creme de la creme. Everything that happens in these NFC playoffs from this moment forward is straight up like a witch dropped their bad luck potion right when mixing the games together. Sugar, spice, and a heaping helping of curses. Next up is Cowboys and Packers, another contest that has a well-known jinx. But as is the norm, we have to start here before we can get there. Rodgers started the day by putting up a touchdown almost immediately. 7-0 Packers. The Cowboys responded with a score of their own that knotted the game at 7. A Rodgers fumble gave the Cowboys the ball in plus territory. The result? Another touchdown that put the Cowboys on top 14-7. A Dan Bailey missed field goal allowed the Pack to set up their own field goal right before the half. It's now 14-10 at the break. There's also a picture that lives in infamy. A certain fumble that stopped a run that was not a guaranteed touchdown, but it would have gone for at least a good chunk of yards. This touchdown would have swung momentum heavily and maybe we would be talking about a different outcome. But alas, that is not the case. After the turnover, the Packers scored again on a field goal that made it 14-13 Cowboys. Another running score extended the lead to 8, 21-13. Cowboys still up. And right when you think Dallas has a shot to blow this thing wide open, the Packers turn a massive 3rd and 15 into a touchdown. Now it's 21-20. It wouldn't be that way for long, however. The Rodgers to Rodgers connection nets another score for Green Bay. But a failed 2-point try leaves the score at 26-21. Cowboys still have a chance. Here's where the curse decides to leave its grubby little fingerprints all over this game.
You're cursed, Jack. Everything you touch, one way or another, ends up dead.
The curse moment is undoubtedly the catch that wasn't a catch. This catch still gets talked about to this day. There is a whole rule change made because of it. Literally, anytime there's a question of a catch brought up, this play is mentioned. It's so universal in the football world, all you have to say is 3 words. Dez caught it. And everyone knows immediately what you're referring to. The NFL even came out and said that this was a catch. And I'm sure Cowboys fans everywhere are just delighted to hear that.
Oh wow, thank you so much.
And the curse that the Cowboys took from the Lions was passed on to the Packers. If the rest of these playoffs weren't so cursed, the Dez catch would be the defining moment of this entire thing. The funny thing is, the jinx is so bad, that catch seems tame by comparison when you see what happens next. Let me introduce you to the NFC Championship game. This game is the reason for this entire video. This series that sends the Seahawks to the Super Bowl is about as unlikely as it gets. How many things had to go wrong for the Packers? Everything. How many things went wrong for the Packers? Everything. +1. An early pick by Russell Wilson and a fumble by returner Doug Baldwin put the Packers in the red zone. Twice. The result? 2 field goals. Now, remember that point because it's going to be important later. Seattle's defense was the definition of bend but don't break, until the Packers finally broke through to score a touchdown. After another field goal, the score was 16-0 Packers. Now, let me explain to you how insane this game was. Russell Wilson had 2 interceptions before he had a single completion. Let that sink in.
Russell Wilson still looking for his first completion, rolling out. He's going to air it out. Good coverage and picked off.
But when all hope seemed lost, Byron Maxwell got his get back and did some intercepting of his own. Finally, the Seahawks were back on track. And Russ just threw another pick. This can't be real. Fast forward a bit, and the Seahawks are finally getting on board with a field goal. Oh, it's a fake, even better. This touchdown really started to swing the momentum for the Seahawks. Instead of being down by 30, they were only down by 2 manageable scores. A field goal from the Packers made the score 19-7, which is slightly larger, but still not unheard of as far as comebacks go. Now the Seahawks should be okay, and Russ just threw another pick. Unbelievable. 4 interceptions in the NFC Championship game. Surely, this is it.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
The Hawks don't have a chance, right? Right? Disclaimer, if you're a Packers fan, you might want to look away. The following footage may induce nausea, vomiting, homicidal tendencies, blurred vision, and a rare but deadly condition known as hand melt. Viewer discretion is advised. The collapse for the Packers begins with a Wilson QB draw up the gut for a touchdown. But it's okay because Seattle still has to recover an onside kick and score. There's no way that would happen. Now, the name I'm going to mention for this part is now more well known and remembered amongst Packers Nation than Lambeau Field itself. Brandon Bostic. Oh man, as far as sports plays go, this is up there for the most heartbreaking, gut-wrenching, disappointing.
Stop! He's already dead.
Okay, we know this play is crucial, but things get worse somehow. Beast Mode lives up to his namesake and scores, then proceeds to have one of the coldest non-reactions in NFL history. Then they go for 2 because, obviously, a 2 in this situation means that the Packers have to score either a touchdown to win or a field goal to tie. A field goal doesn't beat the Seahawks in this scenario. And even the 2-point conversion itself is ridiculous. Wilson is running one way, throwing it the other to a receiver who's actually outside the end zone when he catches it. For some reason, this one happened in this way in this NFC Championship game. It was just meant to be, or not meant to be. I'm not sure how the curse works here. The Packers were just 1 conversion away from a return trip to the Super Bowl. And I know that's not making it any easier, but I have to stress how insane things had to be just for this game to get to where it was and for the Seahawks to come out on top. Okay, back to business. It's right about now that you realize that just 1 touchdown instead of all those field goals for the Packers probably seals this game. But instead, we have ourselves a barn burner, folks, and the Packers have to make a field goal to send the game into overtime. Disclaimer, if you're a Seahawks fan, you may want to look away. The following footage may induce nausea, vomiting, delusions of grandeur, Legion of Boom references, nostalgia, elation, a state of euphoria similar to that of taking drugs, and you may forget that your family exists. Viewer discretion is advised. The drive in overtime is vintage Seahawks and vintage Wilson. Besides the Super Bowl win, this is up there amongst the greatest Seahawk moments of all time. The culmination being a Jermaine Kearse touchdown that sealed the game. If that entire game didn't set Seattle up to be cursed, I don't know what else would.
Welcome to University of Phoenix Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, where the grandest stage in American sport is set for Super Bowl 49.
On to the biggest game, the one for all the marbles, the one for the last slice of pizza, the coup de grace, the Super Bowl. To further demonstrate how insanely talented this defense was, they start the game by getting a goal line interception on Tom freaking Brady. You may not think that that's impressive until you realize that Tom Brady has been to the Super Bowl more than he's thrown interceptions in the Super Bowl. Even with the turnover though, the Pats are still able to get on the board first to the tune of a touchdown. Seattle doesn't go away, however. Beast Mode rushes in for a score of his own. Remember this guy because he may or may not be important later. Classic strike from Brady to Gronk nets the Pats the lead, but a face mask call going the other way sets the Seahawks up for an answer score. We're tied 14-14 at the half. A stalled Seattle drive at the beginning of the second half leads the score to 17-14 Hawks. The GOAT goes ahead and responds to this by throwing another interception? Remember how I said Brady has been to more Super Bowls than he has thrown Super Bowl picks? He's thrown 6 Super Bowl interceptions his entire career, and 2 of them happened in this game alone. The takeaway sets up the Seahawks beautifully to score another touchdown. Now we're at 24-14 Seattle. The Pats convert a massive third down in a mile to set up another New England touchdown. This is where things get interesting. Disclaimer, if you're a Seahawks fan, yeah. Look, if you're a Seahawks fan and you're somehow still watching this, you, me, and everyone else with knowledge of this game knows exactly what's coming next. So I'm not responsible for whatever happens to your phone or your computer screen or whatever you're watching this on should you choose to relive this moment. All right. Now that that's out of the way, Brady leads his team right down the field to score with a pass to Edelman, 28-24 Pats. Problem is, they left entirely too much time for the Seahawks. This is the perfect 2-minute drill opportunity for them. Then the catch by Kearse, another one of those moments that would have been one of the greatest in NFL history should this game have ended the way it was looking like it was going to. This is one of the greatest catches ever, and that's including the regular season. A moment that almost stood in the halls of sports infamy forever. I have to be honest, seeing this happen in real time made me believe that the storybook ending was all but assured for Seattle. After this, there was a great run to set up the Seahawks in scoring position by some guy named Marshawn Lynch? I don't know. It's some unknown running back on the Seahawks. Whoever he is, it was great for him to have his first big run of the playoffs and set your team up for a game-winning score. I mean, he may be relatively unknown, but it would probably be a good idea to get the ball back to him.
Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler.
And that's it. The perfect ending to the most cursed NFC playoffs.
Just an return with a rookie free agent out of West Alabama intercepting the ball on the goal line.
I go right to Pete Carroll's face, and I'm talking about I hit his ass with the biggest.
That was the worst play call in Super Bowl history.